future faking. What is future faking, and why do we need to know about it? Thank you so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. Once again, I want to welcome back Joni Caldwell Lerner, the motivational coach and host of Wake Up with Joni, your new podcast. Joni, thanks so much for being here with me again.
Oh, thank you. And hello to you. Hello to everyone out there.
We have, we always have fun on this program, and I want to have fun today.
Okay.
Although this is a more serious topic, future faking. This is a behavior that has been around, but there's, again, never been a word for it that we can now focus in on it and maybe recognize that huge red flag that future faking, provides. So let's talk about that, Joni. I'm going to let you explain, what is future faking and why do we need to know about it?
There's an interesting trajectory of a healthy foundational building of relationship. Future faking skips all of that and goes right to the person creating a future, a compelling future of when we're going to, and then we'll buy a house, and then we'll travel here, and then we'll say, and it's a fake future, basically. And it's done as not a way of connecting, but a way of manipulating, I think. Now, some of it may be more sinister or malicious. If it's coming from what they call a narcissist. Yeah. And we'll get into what that means. But if we were talking about a true narcissistic personality disorder person, they're over here on the spectrum, it's very likely that it's very much done on purpose and as a manipulation. But if it's just somebody over here who's a little self-centered, a little selfish, kind of wants what they want, but can learn empathy and how to care about others, that's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up and this is why I thought this was so important as well, is narcissist. Again, this is an important discussion about somebody who just moves way too fast, right away. You started dating somebody new, you're enjoying to get to know them. And within a couple of days, they're planning vacations and wanting you to meet the parents, etc. Well, one sign, you feel like you're living in a fairy tale because they're picturing this romanticized view of a relationship that is just too good to be true. They don't accept responsibility about anything. And all of a sudden you start feeling isolated. So those are some signs.
Right. So that's a big red flag, obviously, or maybe not so obviously. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too, with a narcissist is they will love bomb you. They will shower you with compliments and the future faking and create this cloud really of euphoria in a way. But the minute you start to establish your own voice, the minute you take a stand for yourself, the minute you go against anything that they're saying or doing, the love bombing and all that turns to criticism and belittling and trying to make you feel small and wrong so that you'll stop doing that whole opinion thing. Like, what do you mean you have your own opinion? So they'll future fake this whole beautiful thing, but they don't want you connecting to your family or friends because the family or friends will go, huh?
Yeah, what's wrong here?
Yeah, what's wrong here? This doesn't sound right. And so they'll have you actually question your own reality.
Well, yeah, there's gaslighting. It's actually a type of gaslighting.
Yes.
And and that kind of brings us to, well, why do people do this? There's really no real reason, I don't think. It's manipulative. It's to get what they want. There's a need for control.
Yeah. So let's talk. We're talking about a regular person, not a narcissist, maybe with some narcissistic tendencies. It is maybe they feel needy. Maybe they want to lock down the person, like, wow, I want this person, and so I'm going to tell them whatever I need to tell them to hook them in, to engage them on some level. And the thing is, this is interesting, or it was interesting to me. Do you remember where gaslighting, that term, came from?
Yes, the movie.
Yes. Yes. So like the husband was turning up and down the gas lights and making her think she was crazy. That's what gaslighting is, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk about how to protect yourself from it. So, again, if you're listening to this and some of this sounds familiar, oh my God, yeah, I went through this, or this might be happening right now. Pay attention because you may not want to keep going down that road. So, one of the ways to protect yourself, that you don't fall into this and follow this person along, is to control your assumptions, and that makes sense. You don't assume that what you think has deep meaning, like meeting the parents or something, that has meaning for this other person as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, it's an overarching truth that we need to trust our gut. We need to trust our instincts, our own, because that's where the truth is for each of us. You want to take the information, take what you're getting from this person and these conversations and that kind of thing, and then really go inside and say, does that feel right? This feels off. And I need you to trust your gut, trust yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's actually number 2. Trust your gut. So you're right.
Well, that's my number 1. All right. So let's go back to number 1.
Is that, listen to the signals your body is sending you, that we often, especially when we don't want something to be true, that we don't trust our gut. And if we do, more often than not, your gut is right.
So let me go back to number 1 so that I actually answer your question. So yes, be very cognizant of your own behaviors. If you want something really badly, you might assign importance or truth that you want, projecting. You might be projecting onto what they're saying or what they're doing. But then now we defer to number 2. Okay, so they are very connected. Be aware of what your tendencies are and manage the folly, manage your own expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then the third point, be honest and direct, that people get, when they don't do it, that's when they get roped into, what a narcissist or a future faker is trying to get you to do, because they won't speak up, right?
Well, okay. So if you don't speak up and you don't tell your truth, that makes you a much easier target. Right? If you're standing up and you're saying from the get-go, no, I don't agree with that. I don't think so. You're going to be too much work for that person. So they're going to sort of fall by the wayside on their own. And what they do is they test the boundaries. So they'll test you and see if you're going to stand up for yourself. Are you going to say what your truth is? And then when you don't, they'll test a little further, and pretty soon you have no voice.
It is so manipulative, especially the way you just explained it. It is so manipulative. So again, if you're hearing this, if any of this sounds familiar, be careful and keep listening up. Number 4 here, also, don't be quick to fantasize. That when we hear, especially women, when, I don't know, maybe not especially, but probably more women so than men, we all of a sudden start to romanticize and fantasize what this relationship can be like, especially when we're led into this fairy tale.
Yes. And yes. So it was interesting because I have some dating experience, right? So I dated a guy who, this is 6 years ago, and he led with, and this is interesting, he led with some 1980s video of him in a band. So he's the lead singer of a band who had like a one-hit wonder, and I won't tell you who it was or who the band was, but he sent these things, and I thought, that's weird. I thought maybe he doesn't feel like he's enough now. He's riding on his own coattails from 30 years ago. Yeah. And I didn't listen to myself. And the truth was, he was probably he was a narcissist, right? And so I had to have a few more flags before I went, But I was lured in. Oh, a rock star. Ooh, that must make me really hot. So I was working on my own self-esteem stuff.
Yeah.
And so of course I attracted that experience in. And I've mentioned to you before, I had several narcissists in a row before I went, oh, who's the common denominator?
Yeah.
Me. What do I need to change?
Yeah. Well, and I fall into that fantasizing too. It's like everybody I first dated, and I had so much fun when I started dating again, but it was, oh
Yeah.
my God, is he the one?
Yeah.
And depending on what they say or what, like one of the very first ones, I had a really good connection with. We actually went to college together, but I remember on our very first date, he said to me, oh, I just remember what, when we're old, we can talk about, how we did all this together, how, we went to college together and then met up. And I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. And it was just all BS. And we share this, not to like, talk about us, but when you share experiences, it does, like between the two of us, it just cues stuff like, oh my God, that did happen. That's what that was. And again, that's why I love these words that are put on behaviors that have existed forever, because now we can focus on it and maybe identify it a little bit better. The last point here, trust actions, not words. That if you were told, they built this story, oh, we're going to go on vacation, we're going to do this, all these grandiose promises up front that never happen, it's actions that you need to look for, not words. Words don't mean anything if it's not followed by action.
Yeah. I love you so much. Really? You never touch me. You don't hug me. You don't listen to what I'm saying. My choices don't seem to matter to you. You love me. Please define love, please. So yes, actions speak louder than words. That is a very old saying, and it is a saying for a reason. It's truth.
Exactly. It has been around for a reason. Just like you said, it's a huge red flag that you need to pay attention to. How to respond to future faking? What do you do about it? There really is only one thing, right?
Well, I mean, ultimately, if this is a core truth of their personality, you need to run. Do not pass go and all that. If you feel like there's really something there and this person has a connection and value, and you are able to say, you know what, I don't need to hear those things for me to like you. I'm not sure where this is coming from. I hate throwing out the baby with the bathwater, but when you've got these big red flags, it's a real good way to avoid time invested in pain.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You brought up a super good point, which is, test it. There is, if you can actually talk to this person, which a narcissist you can't, and and they see what you're talking about. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was doing that. Maybe they're just nervous, or bring insecurities to the table that can be overcome. However, because this is so closely associated with narcissism, that's where I think most of what you read about this as, just there, you cannot change a narcissist. If you're truly dealing with the far side of the spectrum, either a real diagnosis or way over there, it's not likely you're going to change that. That's just the cold hard truth. Joni, like you just said, maybe it was going to save you from wasting a whole bunch of time. Talking about time, we're coming to the end of the segment. What would you like to add on this?
Well, if you feel like this sounds familiar and there's some future faking going on, pay attention. There probably is. And remember that good boundaries and really trusting your gut are two of the most powerful ways to protect yourself. It's also a really powerful ways of getting what you want, because this is what it's about. What do you want in your life, not what they want in theirs? Although, if it's a good match, you'll probably want the same things.
Well said, Joni. I agree. Thank you so much once again for spending time with me here today. Congratulations on your new podcast. I will link to it. Matter of fact, Joni just interviewed Robert. He's going to be on there.
Yes, Robert Manny.
Circles.
I know. Yes. Thank you for sharing him. I really appreciate it. It's called Wake Up with Joni. And that's what Silke and I want for you as well. Wake up to be able to choose.
Thank you, Joni, and we'll see you on our next segment, Second Act TV. Bye.